No.
Please say once. You might not get what you're asking for right away, but that's probably isn't because the person didn't hear you. Do you say thank you when you bump into something? No, you say thanks a lot.
Such your kids.
I like how Furman goes, Bob.
Thank you. It's funny, I get more compliments for this stupid shirt. It was like $8 on oldnavy.com.
Is that Tim Allen as the Santa Claus holding?
Santa Claus. Randy.
Are you kidding me?
10 Commandments. Who held the 10 Commandments, Randy?
I know, but that
Moses.
It's History of the World Part 1, Randy.
Mel Brooks.
You now have viewing homework.
Shiza. Have you ever seen History of the World Part 1?
I have, a long time ago.
I
know what it's from, but it really looks like Tim Allen from the Santa Claus.
For the love of Christ, dude. Unintended.
You can't say me that there's no resemblance.
None. Zero. For one, because that movie sucks ace.
The first one's okay. The sequels
It's
are
not
horrible.
okay. Horrible. Dave have a stroke, or we
No, so we have a show at 7:00 and he's asking me questions about doing stuff, and
well, don't let that get in the way.
well, I figured we're taking a couple minutes to let people join. Boo.
Oh, why am I commenting as IT in the D? I want to comment as myself. Stupid Facebook.
Who made you an admin anyway?
Probably me. He wanted to post something, and I was like, "Here, just go do." Yeah, I mean, we're at 4:03. We can get started if you want to. I don't care.
It's fine by me.
All right, go ahead, kick it off.
Welcome, PenguaCon virtual session. Whatever. Blur. This is Blur's Day today, right?
Exactly. The 87th of Marpril.
Right, and this is the one that usually gets the most attendees at the PenguaCons over the last 2 or 3 years. The 10 Commandments of Networking. And if you note, that's a picture of Tim Allen from the Santa Claus holding the 10 Commandments. It was the 15 Commandments, but he dropped one. So then Tim Allen said 10 Commandments. And then he went and rode on the sleigh with Rudolph and delivered the toys to the kids. Frickin' Randy, I swear.
You know what?
But this is let me preface this also by saying this is the networking refers to handshaking and meeting people, not Cat 5.
Right.
Cat 5e or
there's
Cat 6.
no routers in the course of this conversation.
Nope. No Cisco certifications required to view. Let's see how dated this is.
I tweaked it a little bit.
So we started networking basically back in 2001. We found that every networking group and chamber event and BNI and LBN were awful. Granted, we would say they sucked, and we made fun of people. So we said, why can't we just hang out with IT people at the bar? And everybody pays their own way. We don't have to have a sponsor. staying on a soapbox and selling people's names and running it like shit.
And that,
So
we weren't building an email list. We weren't doing any of that nonsense.
no, so we just decided let's run monthly networking events for IT so we can build relationships because both of us realized that was kind of what we needed for our careers, or realized that was it was smart.
Yeah, networking was always pretty important, pretty important. So, and it's always been, the in-person meetups were a thing. We had a group site for a while when that was a thing. And then when that went away, we went to our own, our own website. We had, LinkedIn had their events thing for a while. Then that went away. So we started a meetup group. And now LinkedIn's bringing events back, but we've still got our meetup group. So we're a little bit all over the map when it comes to wherever people can. It's almost like having a podcast. Just be wherever people need to find you. That's part of the whole networking thing.
Yeah, we've evolved from just a straight up meetup group to writing a blog series, to doing public speaking, teaching networking classes, to having a podcast, to doing job fairs, to doing a lot of different things. So we've been, like Dave said, kind of over the map on just this different crazy stuff we've been doing.
Well, and that pick off to the right is I think probably one of the highlights for us. We spoke at PodcastDetroit a year and a half ago, and our I think what got the biggest pop for us was when we put up I said, "Hey, this is a picture of our actual business plan," and it was a Post-it note that said "Suck less."
Well, what you had to do is, how TEDx, you have to give those little snippets so people can quote you, and then they can put it on the Twitter, and then they can,
which is exactly what happened with that photo. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But and then the important part is, who aren't we? We're not ninjas, we're not experts, we're not gurus, we're not life coaches, we're not masterminds, we're not thought leaders, we're not genius groups. We're not getting you to pay $300 so we can rewrite your resume or teach you how to network better. We're not here to sell you something afterwards. That's not the point of this. But then most importantly, we're also not people who are going to sugarcoat the truth. We have always been known for being blunt.
To a fault, but I would not change a thing. If someone's gonna, ask a question or do something stupid, I'm gonna call you out on it.
As it should be.
And you should call me out on it too when I do something stupid, which you've done in the past.
Yeah, that's how it works. So I always love this. We gave this presentation a lot at Shifting Gears and a couple other groups, and inevitably, we would get there after other presenters had done their thing. And we would at one point in time, somewhere during these 10 slides, the class would break out into nervous laughter because we would have inevitably just stepped on whoever had just come before us. But no, our whole thing is, basically unlearn what you've learned. I mean, that's too many people think they know what to do when it comes to networking, or they think it's not important. Now we're here to tell you to do it right.
So this is why we started doing this. This is the crux of, I guess, all of us, is you got to understand the importance of networking. Dave and I network for different reasons. At the time of me being a sales guy, I wanted to meet everyone and kind of find out what's going on in town. Dave wanted to meet other developers and talk shit about their bosses.
Yeah, well, and bitch about why this piece of software doesn't work, why that piece of software doesn't work, how did you get this crappy piece of software to work?
Yeah. And I mean, there's tons of networking events around town, and you meet right now. The easiest way to find them is Meetup. So show up, what I mean, and be a regular fixture. This isn't like the biggest pet peeve I have about networking is people that show up only when they need something. Hey, what brought you out? I just got laid off. Well, where were you the last 3 years?
Last 30, 60, 90 days. Well, and we've got recruiters that are the same, that are the same way. We won't see them for 6 months. They'll come walking in the door and they're hey, what do you need?
And they inevitably do. And don't expect me to drop my shit because you just showed up that I haven't seen you in 3 years because now you need something.
Right. Well, and I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, that's why we always tell people, if you're walking in the day you need something, you're already 30, 60, 90 days too late. Because I mean, at that point, you're no different than, a random calling my cell phone trying to sell me Windows. I don't know you. Why am I going to buy Windows from you? But if I go, hey, Bob, I need Windows in my house. You got a window guy, and he tells me who to go to. That's probably who's going to get my business. That's how that works.
Indeed.
Beware of false prophets. This is always one of my favorites. Find out before you go which events suck, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. Don't pay $20 to go listen to somebody talk about how LinkedIn your way to success, or Twittering your way to the top, or any of that kind of nonsense.
Can you believe that shit still exists?
It does, and it drives me absolutely batshit crazy that it's still
LinkedIn to success.
Yeah.
Come on.
You
know
and
who
always,
you are, by the way. You know who you are.
yeah, you know who you are. But no, and it's always ask questions. Find out what the event's supposed to be about. Who's going to be there, that kind of thing. And know what you're walking into. There are us. We're IT specific. Which is great. If you're in the IT industry or around it, cool. Come on out. If you're trying to sell somebody flowers, don't show up at our event. You're going to get run out of town. Same thing. If you're going to a business networking, whatever that BNI or LBN or whatever, know that you're walking into a room full of random people that just want you to give them your contact list so they can go sell to them. And but then the biggest thing is, if it's not what you thought it was going to be, leave. Do not waste your time. It's that simple.
I mean, hell, we've did that before. In the middle of introductions, like, yeah, I think we're gonna leave.
Yeah, this is not where we're supposed to be right now. Bye.
No, and here's the thing: it does. When you walk into a room and all of a sudden you look at 80 people, like there's a bit of a, we'll talk about this in a minute, but there's a bit of like, what the hell am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
We'll talk about anxiety in a few slides, but just feel free just to ask somebody. Like, at least with our events, you're on your own, meaning like no one's going to hold your hand, no one's going to steer you in the right direction. But if you just ask, going, hey, I'd really like to meet some whatever Python coders. Do you know any? Like, you know what I mean?
And people know, and people tend to show up and they know at least our faces, and so they tend to come to us, and we play traffic cop. That's what we do.
Yeah, exactly. And this one, I guess it's really up to you. Like, this is really a best practice. It's not a must-have, but like we always, being prepared is for networking is key. Is just networking itself. Meaning, have some cards. Go to Vistaprint, type Bob Python coder, my LinkedIn address and my phone number. Right there.
Yep.
It's $10 for you, just so you'll have something to leave behind. Definitely don't bring your resumes. I do not want to carry around your piles of paper all day.
Well, that's what we've always said. You don't want to carry around a stack of your resumes all night, and a recruiter doesn't want to carry around a stack of everyone's resume all night. So don't. Yeah,
and dress appropriately for the venue. Like, we're an IT networking place. If you show up in a suit and a tie, like, oh boy, what
we're immediately worried about what you're looking for. Well, and then the flip side is, don't a lot of our events happen in bars. That doesn't mean show up in a Slayer shirt with the arms ripped off, and ripped down to the waist, or a mini skirt and fishnets. What we've always said is basically,
oh crap, I'm going to cancel my mini skirt order.
It's probably for the best, Randy.
Yeah.
But what we've always told people is, so our events, they take place in bars. Imagine that you're hanging out at a bar one night and you hear somebody at the next table talking about looking to hire for your dream job. Don't be wearing something that's going to keep you from approaching them.
My big thing is, and this is the key takeaway, which you put in the Twitters, is don't ever let what you're wearing become your nickname. Because you're forever going to be branded as cowboy hat guy, or
and there was pink cowboy hat girl. There was fishnets. There's we've had a few of them.
Don't ever let if you want to be a hockey jersey guy with cargo shorts and flip flops, go ahead. Jesus sandals. That's on you.
Having a focus message is super important too. I can't tell you, and this actually goes both ways, both for people that are looking, actually all three ways: people that are looking for a job, people that are looking to hire, and people that are just looking to network. I can't tell you how many times I've had the conversation where so, hey, I'm looking for a job. Okay, great. What do you do? I do everything. No, you don't. What do you do? I'm a developer. Okay, what kind? C#, Azure, whatever. Okay, cool. Now we actually know where you are. And then there's recruiters that show up. Hey, what do you, I'm looking to hire people. Great. That's your recruiter. Assumed that. What are you looking to hire for? Developers. Okay. What kind? And if you say good, I'm going to whack you. Like what? So, I mean, it's, just have a nice, simple, easy, focused message.
Well, and then know your audience. If you're going to an IT networking event, and if somebody says, what do you do? Don't tell them I'm in IT. Like, no shit, Sherlock. Like, what do you do? You know,
No
like,
shit, Chet. No shit.
no, right. Like, what is it that you do here? Like, you know, if you go to like a rando, like a chamber event, sure, I'm in IT, because again, if you meet a banker, they're not going to give a shit that you're an Azure developer, right?
Right.
You know, but if you're an IT event, they're going to absolutely care.
For sure. And here you go.
Yeah, and this is my big one, and we always talk about, you know, having anxiety at these events, and let's preface this by there's two types of anxiety. I think here's the thing: everyone that's ever walked into one of our events has had anxiety. I don't care.
Or even
who you
us.
are. Huh?
Even us.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too. I have it every time, every meeting. Some people's anxiety is, I don't want, you know, I'm scared shitless to meet someone. Mine is, how the hell am I supposed to meet everyone right now?
Yep.
Yeah, and I get that little panic thing. Like, you know, when I was a DJ at the Post, oh my God, 15 minutes before 9 o'clock would roll, and I'm like doing the walk, and I'm freaking out. And, we were like, we were nervous wrecks at Pinkster parties. So,
Oh yeah.
Just because I'm a extrovert, you know, type A alpha, does not mean I don't have anxiety. I go nuts before these things. So like, just some little tips. If you can, if you're like the super introvert, and you have that, travel in pairs, like even with an extrovert, that way at least you can lean on someone.
Yeah.
Right?
Have a networking buddy.
Yeah. Just because walking into a big room is, you know, it's a panic attack waiting to happen on the flip side. You know, introduce yourself to either to the first person you see or the people that are running the event. They might be quick with you, but at least you're like, hey, you know, like I kind of said earlier, hey, you know, I'm a Python developer. I'd really, you know, and who you want to meet. I like to meet some recruiters. I like to meet people that do what I do, right? And hopefully they can steer you in the right direction. Otherwise, just keep your mind open and keep talking to people.
For sure. And relax sometimes is easier said than done. But again, not that we force everybody to drink, but we do have our events and bars. Have one, take the edge off. It's okay. Nobody's going to judge you for it.
Once you have your fifth, maybe. But
yeah, don't. Yeah, well, that leads to don't be that guy. So our rise to infamy and notoriety started with a blog series on our website called "Don't Be That Guy," where we decided very early on we weren't going to tell people what to do. We were going to tell them what not to do at networking events. And there are, I believe at last count, 122, if I recall correctly, don't be that guy entries out there. And it's everything from, don't be the overbearing sales guy. Don't be the arrogant IT guy. You can tell that Bob and I talking shit about each other. Don't be drunk guy. Oh, look, there's Bob. There's stalker guy. Oh my God. We literally had somebody who not only went and found somebody on Facebook, one of the recruiters, but then just randomly showed up at her office without an appointment, without anything. Nuts. The annoying voicemail guy. I don't need a 20-minute voicemail from you every day.
Hi. Yeah, hi. This is Lumber.
Just checking in, seeing what you. I mean, they're everywhere. So we do recommend hit the itandthed.com website and read through those.
This is the one where we said, thou shalt unlearn that which you have learned. It's typically, there's people have taken classes on having an elevator pitch. And everyone's like, what's your 30 or 60-second elevator pitch? Right?
You don't have one. You don't need one. For the love of God, don't ever create one.
No, I guess here's what my elevator pitch is, and treat it as you would a conversation. So I might have a 60-second elevator pitch, right? But it's in chunks.
It's in the choose your own adventure format that's broken up in like 10-second increments. Yeah.
Yeah, because like here's the thing. Like I'm just giving an example. Like when I was in sales and I was at Cisco, my intro would be, I'm Bob. I work for Cisco. What do you do? Right? If the guy says he's a banker.
Oh, you sell tomatoes?
Right. Yes. That's Cisco. No, I sell thong song cassette singles. But like, what do you do? And he goes, if he happens to be a data center manager, I can dive more into my job. If he's not related, if he's a stockbroker, I'm going to ask him about what he does more. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you have to understand who you're talking to and treat it as a conversation, not, my name is Bob. I work for Cisco. Our company makes routers and switches and wireless devices to help connect you and your employees so you can surf the internet safely and securely.
And the other person is snoring. Yeah.
Right. Like what it means, it might mean the world to you. It means jack shit to anyone you're talking to. Like it really does. Like all the acronyms and everything that you deal with, you just need to understand that what's really important to you isn't important to everybody else.
Yep.
And treat these pitches as conversations and nothing else.
For sure. And so I was going to say earlier off the top, for those of you that attended the 10 Commandments of Job Search, you will notice some similarities between these two. Thou shalt not lie is a big one. There are, especially we always joke, the Metro Detroit area is like the smallest big city you will ever live in your life, and everybody knows everybody, and everybody's worked with everybody, and it's real easy for you to get busted.
Yeah, I finally get to tell a story now because Dave always told his famous story. Recently, we hired a cloud engineer at my shop that worked for a big 3-letter IT shop that everyone's heard of that built all of their things in the cloud.
Yep.
All of them. He was the guy. I built this, I built that, I hit this keyword, I hit that keyword. He seemed brilliant. So we bring him on, and slowly things started to derail. He didn't know how to do that. He was pulling templates up for this that are, if you're that advanced, you should know.
Yeah, you should just have it and go.
Yeah, and I think it got to the point where he knew he was in over his head because, and he went out and started interviewing. Well, lo and behold, he interviews with the wife of one of our lead engineers. And he happens to comment, this is IT jargon, so sorry if you don't know what I'm talking about, but he comments that he stood up the Azure stack, which is our cloud stack, Microsoft Azure. He built VRA from scratch, and he stood up Puppet. Lo and behold, this woman, her husband, who's one of our lead engineers, actually is the one that manages and stood up Puppet and VRA. This guy never touched it. And this guy's boss is the one that stood up the Azure stack by himself. So he took claim for what his boss did and what his coworkers did and tried to get another job saying he did all those things. So needless to say, we got a phone call and he got walked out the next day, and I don't think he's working right now. So
yeah, I mean, he doesn't have that job or the new job.
Right. No, and it's a big deal. And I know, Dave, yours is almost even better.
Well, yeah. So, mine was, there was once upon a time, a recruiter, called me and said, hey, I got this resume that I need you to take a look at. So I go up to his office and I started looking at this resume, and the very first thing on the resume is the project that I happen to be the systems architect and the project manager for. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I don't know this guy. And he's like, yeah, exactly. He's like, so we're going to call him, right? So we head back down to my office and we call this guy and I get him on and I let him ramble and babble and he's got like the wrong technologies associated with the project and everything else. And so finally I cut him off and I said, hey, look, man, here's the deal. I'm actually the guy that's running this project and I have no idea who the hell you are. What's up? And so like quiet, dead silence for about 30 seconds. And he says, oh, well, do you know Jack? I'll leave his last name out of this. And I said, yeah, he's one of my tech leads. And he's like, oh, well, I'm doing some of Jack's work at night on the side. And I'm like, oh, really? So, I wheel my chair out and, poke my head out the door. And I was like, Jack. He's like, yeah, what's up? I'm like, come here. And so I, obviously had the guy on hold and I pushed the resume across my desk and he looks at it and he's like, what the hell is this? And I'm like, well, I got a guy on the phone here who sent his resume. And when I called him out on it, he said he's doing some of your work at home on the side. And he was like, dude, I'm like, no. I know it's not true because he doesn't even have the right technologies used. I just wanted to know if you know who this guy is. And he's thinking, and he's like, no, and he's like, and then all of a sudden, like a light bulb goes out because and he was like, oh my god, he's like, I absolutely know who this guy is, and so I pull him back off hold, and I said, hey, I've got Jack here in the office, and he doesn't really recognize you or anything like that either, and the guy says something, and it turns out that this guy had run into one of my tech leads at a bar. They got to talking shop. And the guy thought that his project that he was working on sounded really cool. And so he put it on his resume and just happened to have the dumb luck to send it into the place that was actually really running that project. And same thing. Last I heard, he's out of the IT industry.
Right. Once that name gets out, especially, when you start working places, everyone knows 2 or 3 people that were working pretty much everywhere, especially in IT, and they're going to make phone calls.
Oh, yeah. This was one of the first "Don't be that guys" that I ever wrote. That LinkedIn is not a video game, networking is not a video game, and you really have to understand quality versus quantity. There's no there are no points given for how many business cards you walk out of an event with. There are no awards given for having the most LinkedIn connections. It just doesn't work that way.
And that's one of the things that always drive me nuts is like, yeah, we don't have 300 people at our events. Like, are you really going to talk to 300 people? Like, how many of those 300 people would you really have a nice conversation with to get their business card to the point where you might be able to have a coffee with them?
Right.
This isn't a race. Like, networking is a slow, it's a process, right? If you bring home a shoe, I knew someone that had shoe boxes full of business cards.
Oh, and would post about doing so.
Right. And like, do you ever call them? Well, no. Well, then why, why do you have them?
Yeah, what possible good are they going to do you? And the whole tiering your network is something that we talk about a lot, and it's something that not too many people understand, because you have to understand not only what your hierarchy of need is, but also what somebody else's hierarchy of need. We always say, one of the few times we ever talk about pyramids is, you've got like at the base of a pyramid, you've got all of your random collection, connections and people that you see every now and then, that sort of thing, casual acquaintances. A step up from that, you've got, people that you've worked with in the past, some friends, that kind of thing. A step above that, you've got the people that you would invite to your wedding. A step above that, you've got the people you would invite to your bachelor/bachelorette party. And then at the very top, you've got the people that you'll call at 3 a.m. when you need bail. And so, you need to understand, and it's hard to understand, it's hard for people to understand that relativity, because, okay, you walk into one of our events looking for a job, every recruiter in that room is at the very top of your hierarchy of need. But again, if this is your first time there, you're at the very bottom of theirs, and they don't know you. They don't know anything about you. That's one of those things that it's very important for you to understand, that whole relativity.
No, absolutely. And like I always say, you only have time in your life for roughly 700 people. Go look and see how many Facebook friends you have. At least with me, as long as I've shaken your hand or met you, I will add you as a Facebook friend. I think I'm at like 1,800. I might talk to 300, 200, 300 at just a random given.
I've been using birthdays to purge people. Like when I get the birthday notices about here's so and so's birthday, I'm like, yeah, no, don't remember you, don't talk to you anymore. Bye. Don't remember, right. Don't eat. Bye. Yeah.
Like, I guess it depends. If people that you went to college or high school with, you're going to keep.
Some of them, yeah.
There's randos I've met at bars all the time. Like, oh, you should add me on Facebook, and then never talk to them again. Yeah.
Right.
It was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another big one too. A lot of people don't realize that social media is your brand.
Did we just skip one?
It's had 7, 9.
Don't go back.
Yeah, don't go back. Sorry, maybe it's mislabeled, but just realize that social media is your brand. When you're talking about birthdays purging people.
Oh no, that was 8. Okay.
With birthdays purging people, right now I'm on excessive use of bitching about politics. I'm purging because like literally, like, I don't watch the news for the same reason. Like, I don't need the negativity and the bullshit in my life. Like, it's gotten to that point.
I've gone back to 80s life. The news is only on twice a day for an hour. Yeah. Like, well, that's it. Yeah.
Like, if you like mocking and being funny, that's one thing. But like vitriol and anger and bitching, like, I just can't, it's enough. I'm done with you. But like, you also have to understand the differences, right? Like, between Facebook and LinkedIn, I think a lot of people try to put stuff everywhere. And they don't understand, like, Facebook isn't. Here's the thing: if you're a bartender and I Facebook friend you, and all you do every day is bitch about politics, like, would you do that at the bar that you're working at? Like, how many people would be sitting at the bar if you were just sitting there behind the ranting?
Right. And be careful when you're linking accounts too. I mean, we had it happen with somebody that we know that, they had linked their Twitter, they had cross-posting between Twitter and LinkedIn, and their LinkedIn posts became a steady stream of all of their political ranting they were going off on Twitter. and like had to call him and we're like, dude, do you know this is a thing? And he had totally forgotten and was horrified.
We shouldn't be bitching about that stuff anyway. Like, again, like the last thing I ever want to do is, like, I'm a in-betweener anyway, but if someone was like, hardcore one political party, do you really want it? Are you really in the business to alienate half the people in your network because you're so fixated on your team?
Right.
Is it worth it? Maybe it is worth it. I don't know. It's not to me. And also understand everything that you write is there forever. Even if you delete it the next day, we will screenshot it and we will mock you forever.
And yeah, there's a cache of it somewhere, and somebody grabbed a screenshot, and somebody,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely sure.
So I don't care how drunk you are. Don't like, that's a big thing too. If you've got that sixth beer in your belly, put the goddamn phone down. Don't be calling your exes, and do not be posting on Facebook. Nothing good can come of it. And treat it appropriately.
Very, very true.
And this one's a big deal too. Like, let's say, you go to a networking event, you have 8 business cards in your pocket. Maybe 2 of them you realize, like, that person was a jackhole. So you got 6 people. Shoot them a note and a LinkedIn request and say, it was really nice meeting you last night. I don't know if you think it'd be beneficial to keep in touch, but if you're ever maybe we'll see you at the next event, or maybe we'll have a coffee.
Hey, let's grab a coffee, lunch, something. Yeah.
Right. And not everyone's going to have a coffee with you off the bat, but just if it's tight, or you think you can bring value to them and their business and their network, yeah, ask for coffee. But otherwise, saying, hey, look forward to seeing you at the next event. These things are friendships. These things are relationships. These things are not, these things don't happen immediately, right? The one night stands might happen every once in a while, but for the most part, you gotta do some work.
Got to put in some time.
Yeah, exactly. You got to put some time in. You got to be nice, and you got to buy some flowers, and you got to say you look pretty in that dress, and you got to do all the right things.
Nice, Bob. And then helping regardless of reciprocation. I mean, that's one of the big things that we always tell people is if you're like, even if you are looking for a job, that's probably not the best approach. Like if you hear a recruiter talking about a position or something like that, it's not, hey, I'm looking for a job. It's, oh, well, hey, here's how I would help solve that problem. Or, here's how I would, approach something like that. Be a problem solver, not somebody in need. And then karma, I love telling this story. I was on my way to work one day and running a little bit late, and I always thought the rule was, if a cop had somebody pulled over, you should get one lane over if you can, but if you couldn't, it was no big deal. I was wrong. And so the second cop that happened to be there behind that car came flying out, nabbed me, pulled me over, was very irate when he got up to my window and said, didn't you see us there with our lights on? And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm sorry. I thought I would, I slowed down. I didn't really think I had the room to move over. And he's all pissed off, gets my license and registration, goes back to his car. And I'm like, I'm dead. I'm doomed. Like, this cop's going to like bury me under a jail. And he comes back up a few minutes later, and hands me my license and registration, and there's no ticket. And me being the idiot that I am, I look at him and I'm like, sir, are we done here? And he says, yeah, Mr. Phillips, we're done. He's like, I'm sure you're on your way to, some networking event or something important, and I was like, wait, what? He's like, and I was like, wait. And he's like, yeah, no, Mr. Phillips, I know who you are. I saw you on Fox 2 not too long ago. You're the one that throws those pink slip party events. My brother-in-law went to the last one you did and got a new job after being out of work for 6 months. So I get it. You've got stuff going on, but the next time you see a situation like that, you move over and you slow down. And I was like, yes, sir, absolutely. And so, and I sat there like just dumbfounded for a few seconds. And then I called Bob, and I'm like, dude, you will never in a million years believe what just happened.
It's karma though. Like, again, that's my, to me, that's my religion. You do good and good comes around.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect science. Nothing is, but for me, that's what works the best. So like, yeah, just, karma, like I said, it kind of goes back to the, help regardless of reciprocation, right? Like if you help 5-6 people and maybe one person 3 years down the road helps you,
yep.
To me, it's worth it in the long run.
For sure.
So, unless anyone's got Q&A. Oh yeah, that's the, you just heard it. Call to action just to
Yep.
reiterate. Showing up, continuing to network, and don't stop networking. Being prepared. Basically engaging and following up and all that good stuff.
Yeah, obviously, we don't have any events right now since all in-person events have been canceled. But keep an eye on our website, our Facebook page. You'll see our events listed there when they do fire up again. By and large, it is the first Tuesday of the month. We do something in the Ann Arbor area, and then the third Thursday of the month, we do something in the Metro Detroit area. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
Let me see. I didn't pay attention.
I don't see anything in the chats.
Or
Or the video comments.
I didn't either.
Yeah, no, nothing. No, cool. All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for this one, and we'll be back at 5:00 for the Geek Throwdown that Mike and Ming are going to join us for.
Awesome.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks, everybody.